section of medical devices under the guidance of Dr. Maddi Ramaya sir. Medical device. Medical devices is defined as any instrument, apparatus, applicants, software, materials, and other articles, whether used alone or in combination with or without software, to be used specifically for diagnostic and therapeutic purpose, to be used for the human beings for the purpose of diagnosis, monitoring, prevention, treatment, or elevation of diseases and compensation of an injury or handicap. Example, urinary catheter and bone cement. These are the regulatory bodies for the medical devices. Some of the regulatory bodies: USA Food and Drug Administration, UK Medicines and Healthcare Products Regulatory Agency, Australia Therapeutic Goods Administration, Canada Health Canada, India Central Drug Standard Control Organization, European Medicines Agency, Netherlands Medicines Evaluation Board, Japan Ministry of Health, Labor and Welfare, Singapore Health Science Authorities, Russian Ministry of Health, South Korea Ministry of Health and Drug Safety. International organizations for medical devices: World Health Organization, World Trade Organization, Pan American Health Organization, International Conference on Harmonization, World Intellectual Property Organization. Clinical investigation. Any systemic investigation or study in or on one or more human subjects undertaken to assess the safety, clinical performance, and effectiveness of a medical device is known as clinical investigation.
It's like a clinical trials for pharmaceuticals. Yes. Here it is a clinical investigation.
Yes.
Yes, you can.
Clinical evaluation. Clinical evaluation is a set of ongoing activities that use scientifically sound methods for the assessment and analysis of clinical data to verify the safety, clinical performance, effectiveness of the medical device which is used as intended by the manufacturer. Some of the sound methods are randomized method, control group method, double-blinded method, blinded method, cohort study. For compliance with European medical device derivatives, the clinical evaluation addressed the following essential requirements. Annex 1 section 1 to 3 for active implantable medical devices and Annex Roman number 1 section 136 for the medical devices. The elevation must follow defined and
The
methodological.
evaluation, not elevation. You are changing the entire concept.
Sorry, sir. The evaluation must follow defined and methodological sound procedures as described in Annex 7 for active implantable medical devices and Annex 10 for medical devices. Where demonstration of conformity with essential requirements based on clinical data is not deemed appropriate and adequate justification has to be given. The justification is included in the clinical evaluation report with contents according to Annex 7, Section 1.5 for active implantable medical devices, Annex 10, Section 1.1D for medical devices. General principles for clinical evaluation. Before a clinical evaluation is undertaken, the manufacturer should define its scope based on the essential principles that need to be addressed from the clinical perspective. Considerations should include whether there are any design features of the medical device or target treatment population that require the specific attention. whether the data for comparable device can be used to support the safety, clinical performance, or effectiveness of the device in question. The data sources and types of the data used in the clinical evaluation. Guidelines for clinical evaluation of medical devices. In these guidelines, we can look in upcoming slides when the clinical evaluation is done and why it is important, who can perform the clinical evaluation, and how to perform. When is clinical evaluation undertaken and why it is important? Clinical evaluation is conducted throughout the life cycle of a medical device as an ongoing process. Usually, it is first performed during the development of a medical device in order to identify data that need to be generated for market access. Clinical evaluation is mandatory for initial CE marking and it is must be actively updated thereafter.
Yes, sorry for interrupting. This is the main point, dear students. So, in order to get a CE marking, so it must be subject to a clinical evaluation in order to establish the safety. Yes, you can continue.
Okay, sir. In development, pre-marketing research and development are guided by CE and risk management, defines needs regarding clinical safety and clinical performance of the device. In case of possible equivalence to an existing device, and evaluate if there are clinical data available and determine equivalence for the additional information to the existing device. CE marking. Clinical evaluation is required to carry out for the conformity assessment process leading to the CE marking and placing the device in the market. Document that there is sufficient clinical evidence to demonstrate conformity with essential requirement covering the clinical performance and clinical safety. Who should perform the clinical evaluation? Clinical evaluation should be conducted by a suitable, qualified individual or a team. The manufacturer should take the following aspects into the consideration. The manufacturer defines requirements for the evaluators that are in line with the nature of the device under the evaluation and its clinical performance and risk. The manufacturer should be able to justify the choice of evaluators reference to their qualifications and documented experience, and to present a declaration of interest for each evaluator. As general, evaluator should possess the knowledge of the following: the device technology and its application, research methodology, information management of device, regulatory requirements of the device, and medical writing. How is clinical evaluation performed? Clinical evaluation is performed in 3 stages. As per EU MedDev 2.71, stage 0 also included. In general information, it includes like scope and plan of the clinical evaluation is there in stage 0. Stage 1, identification of clinical data. In this, data generated and held by the manufacturer in this pre-marketing clinical investigation, risk management activities, incident report sent to the manufacturers, and vigilance reports and trend reports are taken out. And in stage 1 only, data retrieved for the literature, in that clinical data relevant to the medical devices under evaluation, clinical background, and identify the current knowledge state of the device, identify the potential clinical hazards. In stage 2, appraisal of clinical data, general consideration and appraisal plan includes. In general consideration, evaluator must look after the information of each document, quality of the work and quantity of the work, scientific validity, and relevance of information. Appraisal plan includes methodological quality, relevance to the clinical evaluation, criteria for each set of the data, uh, respectable in both the qualitative and quantitative. Appraisal plan should be documented in clinical evaluation report. In stage 3 and in stage 2, sorry, in stage 2, we can also know about how to evaluate quality of work and scientific validity in upcoming slide. And coming to stage 3, analysis of clinical data. In this stage 3, gap analysis is done and specific considerations are after that evidence sufficient to uh, clinical evidence sufficient to declare conformity with relevant essential requirements, then clinical evaluation report is done. If not, means it will the evaluator should generate new and additional clinical data and again to the stage 1 and start from the stage 1. How to evaluate methodological quality and scientific validity. The evaluator should examine the methods used to generate the data and evaluate the extent to which the observed effect can be considered to be due to intervention with the device or due to confounding influences, bias, random errors, inadequate disclosure of information, and misinterpretation. Information derived from vigilance data, device registry data, case series, patient dossiers, and other use data. Evaluators need to consider significant difference between source of information in respect to procedures used for retrieving information and about outcomes, quality aspects of registers and patient dossiers. Clinical evaluation data. Clinical evaluation reports should contain sufficient information to be read as a standalone document by an independent party like regulatory authorities and or notified body. It is important that the report outline is the technology on which the medical device is based, the intended use of a medical device, and any claims made about the device safety, clinical performance, or effectiveness. The nature and extent of the clinical data that has been evaluated. How the referenced information demonstrate the safety, clinical performance, and effectiveness of the device. The clinical evaluation report should be signed and dated by the evaluator and accompanied by the manufacturer's justification of the choice of the evaluator. Just take a look on this video.
Requirements for clinical evaluations, as stated in the directives and soon to be updated in new medical device regulations, are further outlined in detail in the guidance document MEDDEV 2.7.1. A complete outline on how to write a clinical evaluation report is provided in a separate WMDO course. In this course, we will review the important steps regulatory and notified body professionals need to consider and understand to ensure compliance with the clinical evaluation part of the essential requirements pertinent to the medical device in question. This course has further taken into account the requirements for clinical evaluations stated in ISO 14155, as well as the NBOG checklist for auditing the notified body review system of clinical data or clinical evaluation. Let's first start by reviewing the concepts outlined in the MEDDEV 2.7.1. First, it is important to note a very important paragraph in the introduction of this document. Although the document is much more extensive now and emphasizes more in depth the process of clinical evaluation, its requirements must carefully be considered and not generalized for all types of medical devices. Definitely, there is a methodology to be applied in the approach of performing the clinical evaluation of each medical device. However, the depth of research of existing data and need for additional prospective data clearly is largely dependent also on the innovativeness of the device and the risks involved.
Voice is not audible properly, Chandana.
Manufacturer to make the necessary risks considerations and weigh these carefully in preparation for the conduct of the clinical evaluation. Herewith a figure from a standard outlining the different stages of a clinical evaluation of existing data. We will review more in depth each of these stages throughout this course. Each of these stages represents an action step and as such needs to be documented in the clinical evaluation report. Stage 0 includes the clinical evaluation plan, including the scope of the clinical evaluation. Stage 1 would be documented using a search protocol and justification for the criteria elaborated of such protocol. Stage 2 should include an appraisal plan and the results thereof justifying to what extent identified data are pertinent. Stage 3 includes the analysis and conclusions reached. Stage 4 is a compilation of the full report, including the review, and either includes or refers to the post-market clinical follow-up plan. Some writers prefer to separate each of these sections of the clinical evaluation report. Personally, I think the information may be easier to digest by an external reviewer, such as the notified body reviewer, if the different sections are included in one document. Having said this, no method is wrong. It may be advisable that notified bodies develop templates which may help the manufacturers and as such also streamline the methodology, make the review easier and faster.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, my dear friends.
That's it, finished, huh?
Yeah, sir.
Okay. So, dear students, you have any doubts and clarify yourself, you can ask your colleague or friend. So, regarding this clinical evaluation.
Good evening, dear students.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
So this is not something related to your so-called topic that is going on. I am just reminding all of you about the registration for the webinar that is planned on Sunday. Hope you all have registered or anybody is left yet to register. Andaru register cheskunnara?
Registered, sir.
Yes, sir.
All of you?
Yes, sir.
Right. And another small suggestion is you pass it on to any of your friends or any faculty members that are known to you in other colleges or in other states, wherever they are. You can just pass it on so that they also will get benefited out of the activity that is happening at our college level. By all of you, by 9:20, 9:25, be online. Okay, exactly at 9:30 session starts. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Right.
Yes, sir. Okay.
Ramay garu మీరు మాట్లాడండి సార్.
Yes. Okay. So, as per suggestions of this our HOD, you please all of you register for this our upcoming webinar is scheduled on 26th, right? So Chandana, I want to ask some questions to you.
Sir.
Yes, so it's not like a question, so it is to say like improve our knowledge, everyone. The first question regarding this clinical evaluation, who is the first person responsible to conduct this clinical evaluation? Anybody can answer. First preference given to Chandana, thereby all.
Manufacturer, sir.
You can say clearly.
Manufacturer, sir.
Yes, the manufacturer is the first person. He
Yes.
is the
Yes, sir.
responsible to conduct the clinical evaluation. Yes.
Yes, sir.
The second question to you. So, what is the reason to conduct this clinical evaluation? Why?
Safety and clinical performance and effectiveness of the device, sir.
Yes, that is to confirm compliance with the relevant essential requirements, for safety and performance. So when using the device according to the manufacturer's instructions for use, the manufacturer must, they methodologically, they have to collect, appraise and analyze the clinical data pertaining to a medical device in order to evaluate whether there is a sufficient clinical evidence is there or not. A sufficient clinical evidence is there not. For this reason, the manufacturer must conduct this clinical evaluation before the product is going to apply for the regulatory body to get approval. That means to get the CE marking,
Yes. Okay, sir.
right? So,
Okay, sir.
dear students, you have any questions you can ask, or otherwise we will conclude. Hope clear, right? Say something at least.
Clear, sir.
Okay, only one clear. Mohini, Pratyusha, Shanmukhi, Monica, Sunandini, Vimulaya, Tejurani, Gajala.
Sir.
Hope clear. I will ask one day about clinical evaluation. If anyone left anything wrong, I can't bear.
Okay, sir.
So
Okay, sir.
you should please ask if you have any doubts. Because I already told how the risk management of medical devices is very much important. Similarly, there will be a specific team for the clinical evaluation, right? So all these are the part of our regulatory people. So clinical evaluation is much important. When a person is very much strong in clinical evaluation, it's also getting a job very much easier, like the person who is going to get a knowledge. And similarly in risk management of medical devices, here it is also same. Hope Chandana, you can clear all the doubts of our friends. Okay, you can learn something in this clinical evaluation, because the regulations entirely according to the, you are not given the proper clear the name. What that MEDDEV? What is EU Commission, European Commission guidelines name?
European Commission.
What is the guideline name? You can tell me, all our students. What is that? On which guidelines we have to perform this clinical evaluation on basis of?
And for sir evaluation ki NX 7 వస్తుంది కదా సార్ మెడ్ 2.71 సార్ బై 1 మా దాంట్లో నుంచి తీసాం
తీసావా? గట్టిగా తీ, రేపటి నుంచి కాస్త గంటి పెట్టిది. See, when I am asking
sir.
question, you can say clearly. So this is according to the MEDDEV 2.7/1 revision 4. Don't say
Yes,
next one something nonsense. తీసేం లాగేం పోసాం కాదు. So this evaluation as per MEDDEV European
MEDDEV
Yes, you can
2.7/1 సార్.
Continue.
Sir.
2.7/1 తో చాలా ఉన్నాయమ్మా. యూ కెన్ గివ్ ద కంప్లీట్ నేమ్. మీకు బుర్ర పనిచేయట్లేదు. EU Commission MEDDEV 2.7/1 revision 4. యూ కెన్ గివ్ ద కంప్లీట్ నేమ్.
ఓకే సార్.
మీ పేరు అడిగితే ప్రియా అని చెప్తారా, లేదంటే ఇంకేదైనా చెప్తారా? ఇంకేదైనా సగమే చెప్తారా? Just try to give the a full set of name for this guidelines. Okay, hope
Okay, sir.
Hope you people very clear. Okay, dear students, we will meet you tomorrow.